Got a lot of things going on there.
4, 3, 2.
On Austin, aka More Than an Agent, on another episode of the Real Estate Blueprint Podcast. Here with my co-host here, my Dominicano hermano, Jonathan Soto. John does real estate. How you holding up, boss?
I'm doing great, man. Doing better than yesterday. Everything's great.
As always, we're here for it. Here with another episode. Here with another guest. Here with another special guest. And if you're from New Jersey, I want to make it very, very clear that we're tapping you into the real estate plug. Real estate plug by definition. J.T Morel. J.T, what's up, champ?
Yo, what up? I'm actually glad to be here, guys. Listen, thank you for actually having me, guys.
Let's tap in with it. Listen, if y'all know, JT's a staple in the real estate community, and we wanted to make sure that we have him on because real estate is relationships.
100%.
Right? And JT has done an amazing job of making sure that he keeps the entire real estate community connected seriously. And then in an environment where real estate and this particular business is relationships, you've done an amazing job of it. Where did that come from? Something? Where did that part start? Like the true desire to keep everybody connected and plugged in?
So I used to do that in New York, and it took me years to actually figure that out, right? So it's like when I came to Jersey, it was like pretty much starting from scratch, right? And like, you know that saying that goes like, if you take everything from me, and you know what, I have to start from scratch, can I actually rebuild it all over again?
Correct.
And how fast? Well, guess what? It literally took me 4 years. Actually, I'll say 2 to 3 years to actually get where I'm at. 4 years is obviously on the time limit that I've actually been here, and it was also throughout COVID. So it's not about exactly how far you go with it. It's more on the fact of just being out there, right? Like every single networking event that was out there, I was in. Every single chance I actually had to speak,
I can attest.
I was there.
I can attest.
Every single party, every single thing. I would even go to open houses.
That's a fact.
I would go everywhere just so people can actually see me and actually know exactly who I am. You know, so it took some time to actually get there, but I knew with the push, regardless of the fact, everybody's going to know exactly who I was. You know, so... And here we are, you know. At the end of the day, it's just about exactly just keep on going forward.
You said this in COVID.
Yeah.
So we're talking 4 years from.
Yeah.
2020 at the beginning.
I've only been in Jersey for 4 years.
So what made you switch? Was it COVID? Did the switch? To
no.
Jersey,
So funny enough, I was living in Steinway
Is that Queens?
In Queens, yeah. My parents were actually buying this house in Elizabeth, and I was looking at the fact that, like, they were buying a house for like $500,000 with 5-year tax abatement, right? 2-family,
New construction,
with a above ground basement, and it's a new construction. I'm like, $100,000. I'm like coming from like New York. Like things like that are going for like over $1 million, right. Easy. So I'm like, wait, I can make my money go further over there. So I went, tapped in over there, and pretty much was looking to actually buy, and then I kind of got stuck, right? Because then COVID happened. Once COVID happened, I just kind of got stuck, and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do now? Like I need to figure this out. Like I'm more on the investment side, but now I need to network and figure out exactly who are the players, who's doing what, who's actually moving, who are the realtors, who are the lenders, who are the title companies, like pretty much building out the entire network, right? So I literally just went and saw exactly who was moving and started connecting with everybody, seeing exactly how everything moves, you know? So it's one of those things, like I said, you just got to keep on pushing.
Now you have a background in the military, if I'm not mistaken. And one thing that I truly admire about everybody that's in or has been in the military, when they transfer over to real estate, is the discipline aspect of it. Like, how did military discipline transfer over like into real estate?
So, me personally, I have like an obsessive personality. So whatever I do, I kind of like get super involved in.
Yeah.
So no matter what, like I have to
You
finish
have
it.
to serve a country. Like,
Yeah.
you get that point, right?
It's crazy, right? So as far as the military taught me a lot. Pretty much camaraderie. Exactly, like regardless of the fact that people are in stressful environments, that we can still come together and actually achieve a goal, right? So that's one of those things that definitely actually implemented in me. So I pretty much use that till this day. Like regardless of the fact, like listen, we have projects that contractors are like constantly messing up or whatever the case. Like, yeah, you have to be a little vocal, right? But again, I did that in the military. I was constantly screaming at people, constantly freaking getting screamed at. So regardless of the fact, it was one of those things that it just kind of came naturally.
It's real
you know?
shit.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I get it. No, absolutely, absolutely. The okay, so you're taking us back 4 years, right? What were you doing before then? Because 4 years, like COVID, exactly. COVID.
$500,000 for that two family. How much is that two family now?
Oh, we sold it already.
Put things into
We
perspective.
sold it. We sold it already. We
How much did they come up off of that one? Lord have mercy.
We got it out
750?
there for like
758?
$825.
Yeah, right there. Couple years.
There you go. They
What's
literally
that?
just sold it literally a
60s?
couple of months ago. Yeah.
And that's with the tax abatement still intact.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 1 year up.
They still got 1 year. Yeah. They made out with like
70%?
they made out with almost like 300,000.
Tax free, married?
Yeah, of course.
Tax free.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
That's 70%.
Yeah, in 3 years. No, in 4 years. In 4 years.
Yes, and COVID obviously was an amazing time to buy and
Yeah.
accumulate and everything like
the
that.
lower
Yeah.
rate and everything.
Lord have
Perfect
mercy.
timing to get in.
No,
My
it was an
goodness.
amazing time. It was definitely an amazing time back then. Like
What a
for
time to
me,
be
for me
alive.
personally, I wasn't as a real estate agent, right? So I kind of like got out of that a couple of years back. I just started recently got back into it, but so I kind of missed that wave. So since I was on the investment side, like it was a little harder because I was like, all right, I need to find deals. I need to find deals. So it was a whole different monster for me, right? So while all the real estate agents and pretty much everybody in the industry on the residential side was pretty much making money, like I was living off my savings. So it was a whole different market for me, right?
What were you doing prior to? Like before you jumped in? Did you come straight from the military into real estate?
No, so
What were you
You
doing
got
prior
a
to?
realtor background in New York, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken.
So
okay.
I started as a realtor in 2003.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so I've been in this game for like 21 years, right? Like
Old
it's
enough to drink.
it's one of those things that
21 years.
that I kind of like had a passion for. I don't know if you guys remember like Carlton Sheets.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I was like 18.
yes,
I used to read
yes.
those books.
Did you pay for the program?
Yeah, of course. I paid it off my mom's credit card.
Shout out to mom.
Yo, shout out to mom. You know what I mean?
Shout out
it
to
was
moms.
it was like an $800 freaking credit card, course, and she saw the payment. She saw the invoice. She like, what is this? And I'm like, Mom, don't worry about it. I got you.
I'm about to come up off this. I'm about to come up
Yo,
off
listen, it was an amazing course. I actually learned a lot from those courses. But fast forward to that, like I went through a rough patch in my life, right? And my parents got divorced, pretty much living out in the streets, whatever the case may be. I actually got somebody. I was in a bad place, right? So I was doing knucklehead stuff, and throughout that time, somebody actually like he kind of noticed exactly what I was doing, and he's like, "Yo, listen, you're great. Like you shouldn't be out here. You shouldn't be like doing what you're doing. You should actually get into real estate. Like you're great at sales. Like I see how you're moving. I see what you're doing, you know." And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, you know, I was very young at the time, and Like he took me to his office. I started seeing the checks. Right, those checks was crazy. I'm talking about like 19 years old. Talking about like 1920, like $17,000 checks, $25,000 checks, $30,000 checks. I'm like, wait a second, what am I doing here? Hold up a second.
Okay, gotcha.
You know what?
Understood.
Let me adjust my life real quick. Let me actually get into this, you know, and started actually hustling it, you know. Throughout that time, I actually started learning exactly how to do like credit repair, and pretty much like started helping out people like get into homes, right? So I don't know if you guys are very familiar. Back then, it was like stated income, no docs. So
Ninja
it was a different animal back then, right?
No income,
Like
no job, no assets.
Yeah, as long as you had good credit score. Listen, all I had to do was get you to at least like a 680, and I could get you a $500,000 house or better, right?
income.
So it was.
So was this during 2000?
Before 07.
I was about to say 6, 7, 8.
No, 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Before the okay.
Before the
Yeah.
crash.
So I was doing that. That's exactly how I learned the business. Like the way I learned it, there was no MLSs back then. There was on the real book, right? Craigslist was a big thing back then. Pretty much like wholesaling was really like a new name, but we were just doing assignments. It was like that's how I learned the business. So to this day, I actually don't even know how to use the MLS. Like I'm a realtor and I have other people handling all that because I don't need to do that. Like that became more of a nuisance for me, right? Like I feel like I could better do. I'm better suited to do other things, right? So like implementing listings and stuff like that. Listen, like you can hire a VA to easily like handle that. Yeah, right. So like I learned the business like very nitty gritty. So I kind of like stayed that way, and it's kind of worked for me because like it's easy for me to find like off market deals. It's easier for me to find like whatever I need, right? Like probates or whatever the case. It's easier because that's exactly how I grew up in this business. Like, here's the thing, like when you're starting into this business, it's who you learn it from matters.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So like
Foundation right there.
Yeah, because what happens is if you go somewhere else, you start learning other people's methods, but you won't pick it up as fast as that first time you actually were absorbing it. Think about that now. You know, so like I've seen people that have gone into like okay teams or okay brokerages and then go to like Keller Williams, right? That's pretty much like a feeder for everybody, honestly.
I started with KW, man.
You know what I mean? So learning that, you start looking at it like, hold up a second, like this is all great, but I kind of know it. So am I really gonna implement it?
Right.
You know what I mean? You're in that mindset. You know what I mean?
Change your ways.
Yeah, it's like you already start learning how to like be an old dog, so to speak. Meanwhile, you're still new to the business, right? So me, I kind of like stayed in my lane. I know exactly what I'm good at, and I kind of like stayed there and pretty much like gravitated towards other people that can actually help and like implement other things that I can't actually do myself. Right?
Okay.
Makes sense.
All right, so we were realtor from 03 to 07.
Yeah.
What happened?
So funny enough, shout out to Kareem. In 2007, the end of 2007, I was with my significant other at the time, right? So she was like, yo, like, what are we gonna do? Like, everybody was coming back to me, like, asking me, like, yo, like, you put me in this house, everything, this and a third, because the rates were all adjustable at the time. So rates were like 13, 14%, all this nonsense, right? And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I was telling my broker at the time, I'm like, bro, something's happening. Something's happening. He's like, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I'm like, no, something's happening. So I told her, I'm like,
is this still why you was a realtor?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was like in 2007. I remember sitting in the couch.
You felt the bubble growing.
Yeah, I felt it. I told her, I'm like, yo, listen, I need a way out. Like, something big is happening. There's a lot of people coming back asking questions. And like I didn't know any better, you know. This is all I was doing. Like I was just putting people in houses.
Right.
Like I'm not the lender. I'm not the mortgage guy. Like, but everybody looks at me because I was the first person that that they were introduced to.
Right.
So it's always like that. Like I'm kind of already used to getting the blame.
All the agents get the blame for whatever reason. All
listen,
the agents and mortgage officers, they always get the blame.
I mean, it was the mortgage officers at the time. You know what I mean? I can't.
Well,
really,
you can't really blame them. They were given a product to sell, and they sold that product.
100%.
So it's Wall Street.
Yeah.
Wall Street gave them the product.
I agree with that. So, but in my eyes at the time, I was like, I had no clue. I'm literally pretty much like a car salesman for houses, and like I'm not handling finances.
Right.
I just know exactly what I need to do to actually get you in the house.
Right.
Fix your credit, get you into a house,
That's
done.
it.
That's all I needed to worry about, right? So, like, but going back, like I remember sitting down on the couch and I'm like, yo, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I see my cousin on TV doing an Army of One commercial, and I took it as a sign because I was literally asking her. She was right next to me, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, something big is gonna happen, and I need to find a way out. And then the Army of One commercial pops up. And then I see my cousin. I'm like, what? I'm like, you know what? That's my sign.
That was your transition.
Yeah.
Did you know your cousin was in a commercial, or you just saw him for the first time? That's
No. I saw the commercial. I'm like, is that Kareem? Wait. I'm like, oh man, hold up a second. I'm like, you know what? He hates it because he's like, yo man, don't ever say that it was because of me and all this. And I'm like, listen, it was actually a great opportunity for me.
Right.
You know, so I did 3 tours, Iraq, Afghanistan, Jordan, Kuwait.
We appreciate your service, man.
Thank you. Did 4 years active, 8 years in the Guard. And honestly, like after a while, it's kind of hard to actually like establish a life back home, like because you're constantly leaving, right? You're looking at these deployments at a year, right? But it's more than a year because you have pre-mob, which is about like 6 months. You're pretty much doing all this training, right, to get ready, and then you leave, you deploy, and then you come back. You got a demob.
I was about to say you have another month, 2 months, 3 months.
Exactly.
After.
So it's a lot of time. So it's a lot of time to actually be away and then try to be established. Right. Gotcha. So that was one of the heartaches that I actually went through. So after my first deployment, I actually joined the Guard. And then pretty much like deployed again with the Guard. That time I was actually going to Afghanistan. Then came back, became a fireman for like 3 years. And was still dabbling in real estate, right? In the sense of like short sales and stuff like that, which is funny enough. I was actually helping out my first sergeant throughout the time, like help out with like finding properties in Georgia, because that's exactly where he retired. So he put me in the office real quick, whatever.
I got you.
You know, first on earth, got you.
Yes, sir.
You know, but it was a good time. It was definitely a good time. I mean, there was obviously some bad times with it, but listen, in life, you got to take the good with the bad, right? That's really what it comes down to. You know, so I learned how to appreciate everything about it. Again, came back, became a fireman for like 3 years. It wasn't a good fit. After that, pretty much deployed again, you know. Well, in that interim, I kind of like try to start a real estate business.
I was gonna ask, like, how did that affect like plans here, trying to build here, and then getting deployed? Like,
yeah.
How did you? And then, if you did, was there anything that you maybe started here, then got deployed, and then had to run it from overseas?
Yeah.
Like, how did that?
So
like,
I did that, and I had somebody that was actually pretty much working with me at the time that I was pretty much mentoring. And when I left to Jordan and Kuwait, they kind of took over the business, right?
Okay.
So when I came back, I kind of like lost pretty much all my business. So I mean, he paid me off for exactly what he needed to pay me off, which was cool. You know what I mean? We kind of like went our separate ways, like evenly. I wouldn't say bad blood or anything, because honestly, he was taking care of the business for like
Years.
like 18, 19 months. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to get mad about the whole situation, right? But fast forward, like I was like selling insurance again, life insurance. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, was doing that for a good minute.
What is this? We're talking about 2015, 2017? Where
No,
we at now?
we're at 2018, 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is before. Okay, so before 2020.
Yeah.
Where did that part come from? Like
Which
the
one?
hustler, sales.
Listen,
like,
I've always been in sales. At the end of the day,
Life is
if
sales,
you know, listen, that's exactly the point.
Yep.
If you can actually master sales, right? It doesn't matter in which category, you'll be fine in life, because you need sales. Number one, you're selling yourself all the time. You're selling a product, because in all reality, it's like we're walking billboards, every single one of us, right? And what we speak about, like, we're constantly recommending things, right? I'm like, oh, yo, you got to see this movie. We're promoting a movie. The movie doesn't know anything, right? Like, you're wearing your shirt, he's wearing his shirt. You guys are promoting yourselves, right? Everything is about walking billboards, right? There's some people walking around like with Gucci and stuff.
More than amazing.
Look at these guys.
Yes. No,
You know, but they're promoting like businesses that aren't reciprocating that energy, and that's what I started learning. You have to reciprocate energy. Like, if I'm gonna promote something, it has to reciprocate energy, right? So that's one of those things that I learned as I started like networking, because a lot of people did actually approach me about a lot of situations. They want me to be a part of a lot of things because they know I have a large network, and they want to actually like pretty much take advantage of the situation, which is okay, right? We all take advantage of situations at one point or another, but it has to be a give and take situation, right?
Can't
it
be
has to be
one-sided.
reciprocal, 100%. You know, so I mean, that's pretty much what I learned out of that whole out of pretty much like my life journey. You know,
like, was there a specific point that like it clicked to be a cultivator? Like, what?
It kind of came naturally, like.
Because there's sales, which sales are usually kind of direct, right? Like it's a
No, it's
one
not.
thing-
It's not. So that's the thing about sales. Sales can be anything. Like, put it like this: you have people that are great at social media but introverts, but you know what? They can sell online. They're great at selling online. There's some people that are great at cold calling.
Okay.
I am not one of those people. They're great at the phone. Some people are great in person. There's too many different directions, you know?
right.
So it's not about being direct. Some people are greater actually talking to the masses, you know, versus on one-on-one. Because on a one-on-one, it's a less controlled environment. Why do I say that? Because to the masses, you're speaking to the masses. You're directing the energy. You're directing the conversation. On a one-on-one, there's a conversation to be had that can actually lead to objections.
Wow. That's a very interesting point, actually. Almost as if like one-on-one creates more of a
It's an intimate
need to off the intimacy aspect of it.
It's intimate.
And some people probably don't excel being intimate, like on
Correct.
that particular aspect. So when talking to the masters,
steer away
you
from
won't
that.
get no objections because you're talking to
They have
everyone.
They have to ignore or accept it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they won't. And if you notice, some of those people, they don't really take one-on-ones. The majority of those people who talk to the masses don't really do one-on-ones.
Is it because of the time and it's more, they make more money off the masses because, or because they can't?
It's
Could be
honestly,
both.
it could be both. It depends on who we talking about, right?
Right.
Like, honestly, like, time for certain people. Let's talk about Tony Robbins, right? Or Grant Cardone. Like, two big names out there, right? They speak to the masses. Try to get a one-on-one with those guys.
Right.
You're paying like $100,000.
They wouldn't do one-on-one. They'll do like a mini group session, like 20 people.
Exactly.
They won't even do
They
one-on-one.
will constantly.
It'll be 20.
No, they'll do a little mini group.
Yeah.
And you'll
Right.
pay like $80,000.
Yeah.
Or $100,000.
Remember the 10X? They had a separate VIP. That's what it was.
You know.
He's looking at the numbers like, my goodness.
They're always in a controlled environment that they can control, because at that point, if you ask them a question, they can deviate the answer. You know, so it's a very finicky.
And they control their image. That's how they control their image.
Yeah, because on a one-on-one basis, guess what? You're getting to know me. I'm getting to know you, right? We're in an intimate setting where, like, whether we're eating or whatever. Because I've had so many people like, oh, let me take you out, let me pick your brain, whatever the case, right? And you know, once in a while, I'll do them, right? Why not? And like, they get to know me personally, and I get to know them personally. I know exactly what their issues are and everything, you know. Versus in a situation where it's a group setting, you only get a piece of that, right? I kind of know what your issue is, but I really don't, right? I don't know the details of exactly what it is, right? So that's really what I don't know. That's really how I see everything.
You mentioned like the as we're being real and raw. You mentioned the dark times, right? Like in life where you're struggling, you're trying to figure things out, you're lost in a sense, you don't have any direction. Was there ever a period in real estate where you felt the same way?
Yeah, in 2007. 2007, and right around COVID.
And what specifically? Like, what point, like in 2007, did you look at your business and was like, holy shit, it's like I'm in some shit right now? Like, what was, well, we obviously know what was going on in 2007, but was it the loss of business? Was it
no? It was a relationships.
And was this,
it was a relationships. Like a lot of people were coming back, like I said before, and like complaining that they couldn't pay their mortgage anymore. Their interest rate was adjustable, so their people complain now, which is crazy to me, right? Like all the old heads are pretty much agree with me. Like people
this is why the NAR settlement happened. But
yeah,
okay,
it's like people complain about 6%, 7%, 5%, whatever.
Right.
Listen, back then you're looking at 11, 12, 13%.
Adjustable.
Yeah,
not
adjustable.
Fixed.
So what does that mean? That it will go up to like 15%, 16%. I've seen
Whatever prime is, yeah.
Yeah, so at that point, like people will come back, and you're looking at a $500,000 loan at a 15%. Right. It was knocking people over the head. So people were coming back, and they're like, "Yo, you gotta help me out. Like I don't know what to do." And I'm like, "I don't know what to do neither." You know, it was kind of like one of those situations. I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like I really couldn't help them, and it's not that I didn't want to. It's just I didn't know what to do. Like a lot of people, I really did not know what to do.
Did that break your heart? Like how, feeling that, and then feeling
I felt lost and helpless. That's really what it came down to. Like I felt like since I couldn't help them and I couldn't do anything, I also felt responsible, right? And it was rough. It was definitely rough. Like that's why I was looking at it like I need a way out. I can't continue doing this. You know, it was definitely a hard time for me, you know? So like that was the time where sales started declining. Like 2007 was when everything started declining. And in 2008, which is funny because it all happened like around February, March. Same time around COVID, which is kind of like a little weird too. Yeah. Like,
coincidence?
Yeah, very, very much.
Well, the Real Estate Poop podcast, the Real Estate Poop podcast, doesn't have no,
conspiracy theories over here.
Yeah. But
did you purchase
kind
anything within that time frame?
Yes. So I did purchase a couple of properties in Albany and Troy. I had him as
And where? Oh, Troy. Troy, New York?
Albany, yeah.
Oh, Albany, Troy. Okay.
And I had them as off-campus rooming houses, for pretty much Albany U. And I went through that. I had them all the way until COVID.
Ironic.
Okay, so you bought it pre-crash and you had it until COVID. Okay.
Yeah.
So they lasted after the crash.
Yeah, but the whole problem was at that point I kind of like lost them because. And listen, these are like the things that nobody really talks about. I was kind of embarrassed for a couple of years that I lost them because, like, throughout COVID, where did all the college kids go?
Remote.
They went remote. They went back home. So now I had to deal with, like, pretty much trying to rent it out as rooms. And now these guys, I'm nowhere near. I'm like 8 hours away. And nobody wanted to pay rent. Nobody wanted to pay rent.
And how did you fare doing it in New York, which is probably the worst place to be a landlord, if I'm not mistaken?
No, so the way I actually had it set up, it was guaranteed by them, guaranteed by their parents, and also guaranteed by the school.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They wait. Okay.
Financial aid?
I was about to say.
No, it was off-campus housing.
Oh.
But how do you?
Okay.
Oh.
It was registered off-campus housing because it was close to the school.
How do you get the schools to still?
I'm assuming they put a lien on them.
Yeah. How do you?
No. What happens is they pretty much they guarantee it. So what happens is it goes through layers. So I pretty much deal with the students. Then after that I deal with the parents, and then the school is responsible at that point. So I had like 3 layers. So regardless of the fact, I can literally pretty much take all 3 to court. So I never had an issue with rent. So that was the thing. I never had an issue with rent. And at that point, it was amazing because it was great money.
Right.
But my problem was
guaranteed.
Yeah, as soon as that taken away, now I'm just dealing with Joe Snuffy, who's literally living in the room.
When did that get taken away?
COVID.
COVID.
So okay, all right.
All the kids went home.
Yeah.
And the school still didn't want to like.
The school started backing out because they were having issues. So they didn't renew leases. So they kind of like.
So you didn't have a lease too.
Oh,
yeah.
Right, to actually bring it up.
Yeah. So it's like, all right. So the way it works is you go to the school, right? You go
It's
to
an amazing model. I don't think that's ever been talked about, to be honest with you.
No, it's definitely a thing. It's definitely a thing. So you go to the school where pretty much like the residency, and ask to be registered for like off campus housing. So what they do is they put you in the database. So when the students come in, they either want to be on campus or off campus, right? And at that point, they give them a list of these apartments or rooms that they can actually like occupy, right? And at that point, it's like on campus, right? They're pretty much somebody's always managing it, right? The school is really not managing none of that stuff. Right. So they leave it to us as a third party to pretty much handle it, right? And at that point, I have the parents also guarantee it because they're students, right? They don't have they don't have no jobs.
You have to pass any inspections.
I was about to say, is that?
Yeah, you have to.
Okay.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Because one of the properties that I had owned, I had Seton Hall University students in there, and they were guaranteed. And when I say guaranteed, just as a landlord, yes, the parents were signing off on it. So it was just like, all right, I know we're gonna be good because mommy and daddy are definitely not gonna let their child, you know what I mean. And we had 3 girls and 3 bedrooms and so on and so forth, and they were. The only reason why I called them my second best tenants is because my best tenant was an elderly Section 8 tenant in which I never heard from her, and rent was deposited obviously every on the first, and there was no issues. The college students were absolutely amazing. They left the property a wreck.
They always do.
Oh,
so just to clarify,
my God.
3 of the properties were registered to
and
the
these
school,
were 3 girls,
and 4 of them were not. Just to clarify.
3 were registered, 4 were not.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I had 7.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So of course you're getting higher rents because per room,
That's such a good.
but it's more expensive because of the turnaround.
No. So usually what happens is the same students, they either
Come back?
renew. They just renew. They'll just keep on.
But would they pay for the summer?
They'll pay for the summer.
And they're not there.
No. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not.
So you have like a 2, 3,
Because there's some
4
kids that,
years.
Yeah, no,
kids.
there's some kids in there that are actually they'll take the summer classes, so they'll stay there all year round, you know. So and others they'll come in, they're like, you know what, I like the vibe, I pretty much like the people that I'm rooming with. So it was like always like kind of like the same people, and they create like their own little environment in there.
So that's not bad. I thought it was like every year you had to like paint the whole house, change cabinets, but they stay there for a couple of years.
They handle that on their own. So the reason why I went there is because I had a friend that actually went to Albany U, and he was like, it was crazy. It was between Newark and Albany, and I'm like, at the time Newark was selling for like $60,000.
And what year was this?
2004.
And you chose Albany?
Bro, I didn't know what. Listen, you don't know what you don't know.
You
don't know
so
what you don't know.
Albany?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're saying that now.
Oh,
at 04.
I'm only busting his chops.
Yeah, you don't know.
I'm only busting his chops.
You have no idea.
I just came into freshman year of high school
the same
at 2004. Like,
you was gonna use the same model in Newark, like
no. So, like I said, a friend of mine was actually going to Albany U, and you know, I had a little money, you know, and I was like, I want to invest. I want to start getting into real estate. So he just like, yo, listen, like, come over here, like, I'll freaking manage it, this and the third. I'm like, all right, cool. Again, at the time, I wasn't thinking too much. I was like, all right, let me just start freaking buying over there. Bought my first property with a squatter. It was a whole fucking Leo there. Like, that was a whole situation that I had to pay the guy to actually get out. Renovated it to pretty much chop it up. And I started doing that. That was in Troy. And then, that one was in Troy, the first one. And then after that, like, I started getting to Albany, and I started learning about those programs because he was telling me about it. He's like, yo, listen, you should get into this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, huh. So he did the paperwork for it, and pretty much we registered with the school. So it was good. It was good. But clearly the amount of equity that Albany has gotten to at this point is nowhere near like Newark, right? So, because I was just looking at places, because in the Bronx at the time, you're looking at $500,000 houses, right? So I'm like, where can I go that's easy to make money and diversify? So Newark is one of those spots. Like, it was across the bridge, but at the time, it was like
Newark.
It was Newark. It was Newark.
It was
like,
still Newark.
It was no, but it was hood Newark. Like,
Newark.
No, it was worse. Like, because right now you have a lot of good areas in Newark, but it was way worse. Like, it was nitty gritty, and that drive across the bridge, it felt like eternity. I don't know what it is about the Whitestone, but it makes everything like take forever. Like, nobody wants to go to New York from Jersey because it's like, oh, I gotta take that bridge. Oh my God! Everybody from New York is like, oh, I gotta take that bridge to go to Jersey. No.
That bridge, man. I ain't going to New York.
That bridge is like a deal breaker for people. I swear to God, like, it was a deal breaker for me. I'm like, oh my God, that's so far.
Now it's the toll.
Yeah, the toll is ridiculous.
Oh my goodness, $18, and I'm like,
So I compared Newark to Albany. So that's what I was doing. And then since I had somebody over there that was actually handling it, I was like, it's a no-brainer. Then he graduated, obviously, and then I got kind of like stuck.
You buying these cash?
Huh?
Buying these cash or loans?
No, I financed them. It was $60K, bro. It was like nothing crazy.
And you're still financing now. Okay, because a lot of people probably they would probably look at 60,000 and was like, I'll go do this cash. But you took it alone. Were you doing FHA? Were you doing conventional? What?
No, it was conventional.
Conventional. Okay, so 20% down. 20% down. So 20% down.
Nothing.
So yes. So in that particular
12K
case, exactly.
Back again, you talk about back then. There wasn't too many houses that, like, New York City was at its peak, but the rest of the world was not. So while those houses were going for 500,000, the outskirts were still going for less than 100,000. So it was easy. That's something to actually take into consideration with everything.
Being in New Jersey, we forget, honestly. Like, being in New Jersey, like, New York is just the 5 boroughs.
Yeah.
And New York as a state is a huge state, but, like, we really don't, like...
It's bigger than Jersey.
And both of y'all are coming from New York, obviously, right? So, like, it's very... Like, for someone who's grown up in New Jersey all of his life, literally New York, and my dad's from New York... it's literally just the 5 boroughs, and that's literally it. And then, like, you kind of forget that there's a whole state that's attached to New York in general. Yeah. But you hear that Albany, like Maffar, Buffalo, Maffar.
It really is, though. It's like
Syracuse. Yes, exactly.
It is.
But it's right on the border of Canada, right? Like, so, like, you know what I mean? What you mentioned something? When you were talking about being 18, 19 while you're making these moves, is it safe to say that by not going to college, that it put you... Did you?
I did later.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, sorry. But I only asked for, like, because 18, 19, you're pretty much in that particular space. Do you think that set you up as an advantage by not taking the traditional route?
No, honestly, I did want a traditional route.
Interesting.
But it was, like, again, I was a good old boy, right? Like, at the end of the day, I was in elementary school. I was in private school. Throughout my high school time, I went to Lehman High School. In the Bronx, I did a lot of knucklehead stuff throughout that time, but it is what it is. But, like, the fact that I was going through the divorce with my parents and my dad leaving, and then my mom kind of like doing overnight freaking work and stuff like that, kind of like left me with my other 2 brothers, kind of like watching them, and I was actually working all the time because... Like, I got my GED, so like I didn't see the point of high school at that point. I'm like, this is for the birds. Like, there's no value there, right? So, got my GED and started working right off a jump, and then, little by little, started doing things that, again, I shouldn't have, right? So it was...
You also was 18, 19 at the time, right? So,
yeah.
Got a lot of pressure on you, too.
Yeah, I was the older brother. Like, I was taking care of them, freaking, like, making sure that, like, a lot of things were, like, happening, right? Because my parents will freaking come around. So it's funny. I have this running joke with my middle brother. Like, my dad will come in the afternoon, right, drop off money. My mom will come in the morning, drop off money, and then I'll come back at night and drop off money. And then I'm like, yo, this kid is just banking, and like everybody just comes, they just come, drop off money,
He's
and
the
they
real
bounce.
hustler. That's the guy we got.
Real hustler.
Yeah, it's like we were all just coming to just pretty much like make sure that they're okay, and then we were like freaking gone again. You know what I mean? Like, my brother was like 14 at the time. 13, 14. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was like 17, 18. So yeah, like it was definitely one of those hard times. Like, when my dad bought out my mom ended up in her one of her boyfriend's house at the time, right? Me and him obviously didn't get along. I got kicked out of the house. I was living on pretty much like taking the A train. Like, at this time, I went from the Bronx to the Heights. So I was like pretty much sleeping in the A train just to pretty much like stay out of the cold and stuff. And,
And what age was this?
18, 19 now.
Okay.
Like, and it was rough, right? Like, I was a corner boy, whatever the case, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was working the corners. Yeah, so, like, that was my life for a while. And then it took like about almost 2 years for my dad to actually come and like pick us up from that whole situation. You know what I mean?
Was that you by yourself or you and your brothers?
Me and my brother, because the little one was staying with my mom.
Okay. So and this is very interesting because it gets to the a very prominent, I don't want to say aspect, but like in the Black and brown community in general, right? So it's you and your brother that's going through these times together, and I love these types of stories because it's really what creates the grit that translates into an industry where the same way that life doesn't give a fuck about you, the same way that this particular industry, and we're all part of this industry does not give a fuck about you.
100%.
Like at all. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
So like you almost like, I don't want to say need these stories because I don't want everybody to like have to go through what you went through, obviously, because it's those things can be or have the potential to be, traumatizing for someone that's 17, 18, and then you're taking care of your brother, like your little brother, and, it puts you in a position that most 17, 18, 19-year-olds are not going through. Yeah. But at the same time, it's also what creates the internal animal that helps you be successful in an industry like ours when it comes down to real estate, where I'll put it like this. When you were on that train, every single day you woke up in a position that was not protective of you. The same way that in real estate for all of us, I don't care if you just did 7 deals the day before, every day that you wake up, you are unemployed. You're unemployed. You do not have nothing coming towards you until like you actually put something together 100%. That particular day. So it's actually relatable that every day that you are waking up in that environment, I can only imagine what that feels like, but why that also can translate into why you are successful in real estate in an industry where every day that you're waking up, you're in the same position.
Like I said, I learned. Like one thing about me, I know what it is to starve. I know what it is to be hungry, like for real. So I never want to be that person again. So I think my drive is the fact that like sometimes I'm very like frugal. Like, yeah, I got it, but I don't never show it because I want to always have it. I always want to have it, regardless of the fact. Like I go through that with a lot of people. They're like, "Yo, listen, why do you have this mindset?" I'm like, I never want to go back. I never want to go back, and it's hard, So it's kind of like my driving thought, my driving spear. Like I don't ever want to be in that position ever again, and I made sure that I'm never in that position. And going back to what you were saying about people like wake up unemployed, one thing I learned is you have to create a base for yourself. Like every month, what is your base, right? And what do I mean by that is what money comes in that you're not working for every month, and is that enough for you to actually survive, right? I'm at a point like me and my significant other, like we're talking about other stuff, right? And like she wants to go to DR. I'm like, oh, that's great, that's cool, right? What's your base, right? I know my base. What's your base? Because if we want to leave and say,
so she wants to move to DR.
Permanently. Yeah.
I thought this was just for vacation.
No.
I was about to say, you coming with a base off of vacation? Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, you got to have a base. No, I was there for a month.
No. That was August.
Yeah, I was there for the whole month, yeah.
Shut up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, like, we got to create a base for ourselves.
Right.
At the end of the day, like, how much, it doesn't matter if it's in real estate. It doesn't matter what category it's in. But do you actually have money that's coming in monthly, right? Mm-hmm. And is it consistent? And can you grow it? Can you duplicate it? Right? It doesn't matter if it's $500 or $1,000 that you're making every month, right? You just have to learn exactly how to continually duplicate that to a point that you're comfortable. Like my base at this point, not like it sounds like for me it's a little bit like I got 12,000 comes in no matter what.
A base though.
Yeah,
But it's
that's
good,
like
though.
that's my base, right? So on top of that, like other people start at 0, I start at 12, right? So that'll take care of whatever I need to take care of, and then on top of that, now I'm making my income, right? I make my money through real estate sales, through loans, through flips, through consulting, whatever, right? So at that point, I create other ways of actually generating money, right? So, but I'm always looking for a way to grow my base because we don't have a retirement plan. This is the reality of it.
Business.
We don't have some of us don't even have insurance. So we don't even know if we're healthy or not or anything, right? Some of the lenders who work for the banks, you know what I mean? He got insurance, but I'm pretty sure you're I don't know. You maybe not.
Well, I got insurance. I hate them, to be honest with you. Well, so I do have insurance, but to your point, the reason why most individuals don't is because it's expensive.
It's like $500 or $600 a month.
It's expensive, and I have shitty insurance, and I like shitty insurance, like because
You got
it
a
came
3XP?
Of course, yes. Oh, I can't. Yeah, I've been trying to get.
That's
out
why I
of
said
them.
I'm like I don't know if you got it because I know EXP got it.
Yeah,
but there's a
and
lot of
they
companies
have
that don't have it.
terrible, and it's terrible. It's terrible.
It's the same as not having it.
It's almost.
I mean, here's a question: can you go to the emergency room, and they will take care of it?
If put it like this, the fact that you have to ask me that question and I don't know means that it's shitty insurance.
That's crazy. So
Because I'm worried if I ever had to, because I'm also worried just in case if I had the sniffles and wanted to go like checking myself into it. Like it's very terrible insurance for what we're paying, and to your point, I understand why, because it's expensive. It's expensive, and you're taking on all those expenses before you even get your check.
yeah.
So it makes sense, right? We're like W-2 employees, you know, they're it's coming out of their paycheck essentially, right? And even at that point, it's not $500 to $600, probably $150 maybe.
No, it's broken down. It's broken down into.
Nah, for me, my whole family's on it.
Yeah.
So I paid a good amount. I paid $6. I didn't even know, something like that.
Yeah, but it's broken
But
down.
I got
into
the top.
his
I got the
paycheck.
top one.
He's like, I got the top. I got top tier, top shelf.
You got 4 individuals they take care of, plus a dog.
The dog is like
So
15.
fur baby.
The dog is
like
about
$15 a month.
$15.
Yeah, it's not much.
Wait, you have insurance on the dog?
Yeah,
have to,
luckily,
bro.
I just got a $3,500.
What? If you don't,
I got a $3,500 vet bill.
you know what I mean?
Wait.
I
You
ain't
didn't know
tell
about that?
They have pet insurance?
Yeah. I just got a $3,500
You didn't know about
vet bill. They pay 70% of that
Yeah.
because the $10 a month.
You know what I say? Yo, people love their dogs more than they love humans.
Man,
Yo,
I was ready to
listen.
leave that motherfucker in that vet, man. Got that $3,500 bill. I'm like,
At that point,
It's about that time to go to sleep.
at that
it's only 7
I was
months.
about to say puppy.
Oh, wow.
More power to more power to you. The as we start our descent here, I want to know what we know what drove you before, and we know what's a big thing that's always on your mind as far as like I never want to go back. But I think as a natural human being, over time, those emotions or those traumas have the potential to kind of fade and be a little bit easier. What gets you going like now? Like, what gets you up in the morning? What you're keeping everybody tapped in, you're keeping everybody collected. What is it now? You have an amazing base, stuff is taken care of. You're not in a fight or flight situation anymore. You're not on the train anymore. What keeps you going now when everything's kind of good financially?
I want to build with the people that I'm around.
Why?
because I know exactly what it is to be alone, and I know what struggle is. So building out something with others, it gives a sense of like camaraderie. It gives a sense of belonging, and it also like it's fulfilling at the same time. Like seeing people's growth, right? And at the end of the day, like we're only here for a short amount of time. Like one of the things that I always tell people is like we're always here. We're here for each other. You know what I mean? When somebody like, oh, thank you and this and the third, because I'm constantly helping people. I'm like, we're here for each other, and that's the truth. Like at the end of the day, if I need something, hopefully you'll pretty much like return the favor. You know, pay forward. You know, whatever the case. Like we gotta realize that at the end of the day, especially in this business, it's all about the relationships that you build. It's all about the people that are around you, right? Because if you're surrounded by people that have that fight or flight mentality, like they're gonna keep you at a level that you don't want to be in. You know, I surrounded myself with people that elevated me. You know, I'm pretty much the brokest one in my group, and that makes me feel good. You know why? Because I know I'm not broke.
Right.
So at that point, it's one of those things like, I know you're doing better than me. You are pretty much my inspiration to actually do better, right? So what can I do to be better as a person and as a man, you know, to actually like elevate the whole situation? And how can I actually help the people behind me? You know, that's really how I am now.
No, I love it, and that's why, like, on the Real Estate Blueprint podcast, you know, we want to like peel back the curtain and make sure that people, you know, can see all sides of us, right? Because like it's we get into these spaces where, to your point, like with selling, that you almost have to always be in a perfect limelight. And I think over the past, I would like to call it maybe 5 years or so, that we've benefited from being raw, not perfect.
Yeah, because
from a sales aspect of it.
Because you're more relatable.
And you can connect with people.
You're more relatable. Like, if I would have just said that my story is peaches and cream, it would have made no sense for anybody. Like, and it's honestly not the truth.
Right.
It's not. Like, my story is my story, and nobody can take it away from me, because that's the life that I lived. Right. That's the life that my brother lived. That's the life that my mom lived, my dad, you know, my other brother, you know, like, this is the life that we lived, right? And it's unfortunate, like, we had our good times, we had our bad times. But I realize now that I'm older, you know, they were in their 30s getting divorced. Right. Like, it was hard for them. Working
just like that.
Yeah, they're human, just like me and you, going through their own emotion, through their own how you call battles. It? Yeah, just their own demons, right? Because my mom, when she was, like when she got divorced, I felt like she was like a kid again. You know, the mentality that she actually had. It was very like kiddish. Like, I felt like she was almost my age, right? Because it's like she took a step back. She's like, okay, I'm single, but she hasn't been single in like 18 years. You know, and she kind of got like with my dad when she was like 18, so she's like 36, and she's like, "What's up, guys?"
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't even know what you're talking about.
You know, and it's a very real thing, and you know, I do want to do another episode on that, because like it's a traumatizing experience, and it changes you, right, as someone that's gone through it. And you know, I want to put a lot of emphasis on the fact that when people do go through it, that you almost do see somebody that was a superhuman, or like a superwoman, Superman, and then you almost see them as Clark Kent after, right? Like, instead of Superman,
you see them as a human.
You see them as a human. So in this case, JT, we want to thank you for the time, without a doubt. Just give the listeners, the viewers here, where they can find you at, and just give us one thing that you want everybody to know just about you, that maybe people don't know about you.
Something that people don't know about me.
And where can they find you?
And where can they find you at?
I don't know exactly what I can say. Listen, but regardless of the fact, you guys can actually find me at J.T.Morel at Instagram. And one thing that people do not know about me is, I don't know, I like gummies.
We'll take it.
I have a candy fetish. I love candy.
Okay.
There you go.
Specifically gummies.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's one of those things. I'm always eating like the Haribo freaking.
Okay. Gummy bears.
Yeah, those are my things. Those are my things.
Now I know what to get you next time I see you.
Yo, listen, I will love the shit out of those, man. You
Well,
know?
everybody that's here on the Real Estate Blueprint podcast, where we give you the blueprint to be successful in real estate and business and in life. At the end of the day, everybody that's been listening, considering the fact that half of y'all been trying to get JT to come out for, let's just take you out for food and drinks. Now you know, gummies. Give them some gummies. We appreciate you as always.
I'm a cheap date.
Listen, we're all here for it. JT is an absolute wealth of knowledge. Always puts himself in a position to connect people together. Very, 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 very selfless. Very, very selfless. And that's why we wanted him here on the Blueprint podcast, because of that simple fact and what you've created in the movement and the camaraderie that you used that word a couple of times today. We're appreciative of it, because in a business or an industry where we can be extremely cutthroat, you are showing the exact opposite of that, and we'll forever appreciate you because of that. And I hope anybody that's listening or in the business also sees it as well, because it's not until you've been in a position where you've experienced the cutthroatness that you're genuinely appreciative when people come along that are actually here to do good business and make sure that people are taken care of. And
Amen.
it's a very, very seldom chance that you actually do see this. So again, appreciate you as always for coming on the show, taking the time out. This is the Real Estate Blueprint podcast with me as your host, Austin, aka More Than an Agent, and my Dominicano hermano, John Soto. John Does Real Estate.
Signing off.
Signing off.